Hey folks, Rick Lenzi here. Want to say hello to everybody. Welcome to the ETA Files. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me this week on ETA Files. Our guest is the one, the only Rick Lenzi. How you doing, buddy?
Good, buddy. How are you, Ryan?
Doing great, doing great. It's been a bit, probably what, 2-3 years, I think. Last time I saw you, Branson Elvis Festival, maybe?
Yeah, no, the explosion.
That's right. That's right. And you're living out in Arizona now, right?
Yeah, I've been here since 2004.
Okay. So you've been there for a bit. Okay.
So yeah, but I moved to Tennessee for 3 years, and then I moved back to Arizona. But yeah, I moved out from California to Arizona.
Arizona, man. What city?
I am in Peoria, right next to the Cardinal Stadium,
Okay.
Phoenix Cardinals.
Yep. You like it out there?
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, like you said, everyone worries about how hot it is out here, but it's only for a couple of months. But like right now, it's probably 85 right now. So it's nice.
Hey, 85 is nice. I'll take 85.
Yeah.
Yeah. So man, I appreciate you coming on. You're one of the people on the list. I have a list of all these names of people just to get in touch with. Obviously, it's like you can only do one a week. So, but you were definitely on the list. And this is the fun part of doing this thing called ETA Files. Is I know a lot of the guys. I mean, I know you. We've worked together for decades, but just getting to hear the backstory of all these guys has been fascinating. So, I guess let's start out, if you don't mind. Just give us a little bit of information about yourself and how you got started. I mean, it's a crazy thing, like we don't think it's crazy because we're in the middle of it, but it is a crazy thing how someone gets started in this Elvis world, this Elvis business. So go ahead and tell us your story.
Well, growing up, my parents were huge Elvis fans. My mom's 18th birthday, my dad surprised her with tickets to go see Elvis in 1970 at the Cow Palace in California. And when she's, when I was, my mom said when I was in her stomach, she played Elvis all the time. I mean, my dad put me to sleep with Elvis Presley when I was a baby on his chest. So I grew up in an Italian-Irish family that were big with Mario Lanza, Dean Martin, Elvis Presley. My dad also loved Jackie Wilson. I mean, the music was always around, and there was country music too. I mean, there was a big genre of different music, but for Elvis, I got hooked on it when I was 3 years old. My dad used to have family members come over, and I used to impersonate Elvis for him at 3. And I had a tennis racket as a guitar, and I had a carpet sweeper, an Amway carpet sweeper as a microphone. The old school blue, whatever, with a white handle. And I used to sing for them when I was 3 years old. And my dad said, you know what? He's going to be a singer of some kind. He goes, and at that time, there wasn't any Elvis impersonators, or really, there was only a couple of them. And I never heard of it. But I started doing karaoke when I was 16 years old. I was getting in the bars, hush, hush. They thought I was older, and I would get in. And then I would sing Elvis, and they were like, oh, wow, this kid is pretty good. And I was like, all right. So I was in high school, and I did drama, and I did Grease, Danny Zuko. I played, in Grease for, drama. I just loved being an entertainer. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So before I started doing Elvis, I started taking opera lessons because I wanted to be like Mario Lanza or Pavarotti. So I took 3 years of opera, and I was getting frustrated because all it was scaling. It was breathing techniques, all this stuff. I really didn't get to sing anything. And I'm like, what am I learning? And then all of a sudden, the teacher said, okay, we'll do this, do that. And then I started hitting these notes. I'm like, holy mackerel. Wow, it's there, and I always sang with music on the radio. So yeah, the Elvis thing happened. My neighbor next door to me in California said, hey, I heard about this Elvis contest in Sonoma County. And he goes, I signed you up for it. I said, what? I said, why would you do that? He goes, because I know you could sing Elvis or whatever. So I was like, all right, well, at that time I had no outfits. I had blonde hair. I didn't, I had nothing. And I'm like, okay. So they sent my tape in and I got called as one of the contestants. So then I was like, okay, got to pick songs. Then I had no outfits. Well, at that time, I didn't think about thrift stores, whatever. I went to a vintage clothing store and rented an outfit with the original white buck shoes and everything else. It cost me like $130 to rent an outfit for the weekend. Dyed my hair for the first time. And after that, I ended up taking second place at the Sonoma County Fair to Martin Anthony was the winner. I was the second place winner, which I thought to myself, I'm like, oh, this is cool, So after that, I took off. I went from there. I did what did I do? Oh, did something in California for this the DoubleTree, and then I went to Memphis that year in January and entered the images contest for Doc Franklin. Got to go down there and I made it into the prelims to come back for the finals in that year in August. And after that, just took off. I started performing everywhere. I started, getting involved with agents. It just took off, man. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Something that, I never thought I could impersonate somebody, but it ended up working out and it was great. I met a lot of great people, performed with a lot of great people. And it's 33 years now, and it's like, where did time go? I'm 51 years old now, and I remember starting off at 18 years old and I'm like, what, wow, 18-year-old kid, living the black hair, sideburns, I was out all the time wearing black pants and black and white shoes and all done up the hair, the whole 9 yards, everywhere I went, at that age, all the way up probably to like 24, 25, I worked rockabilly stuff. And then after that, I, started to scale back and I'm, being and doing 50s Elvis. And then I wanted to get into the 68, but my bass wasn't so close yet. So then I was trying to push that. And then I wanted to do the jumpsuit. And I was, so everyone's like, no, keep back for a while. And then you can come, like that. And now it's like, I just did the show actually 2 weeks ago and did my three era show. I do 50s, 60s and 70s. And, it was fun. But like I said, for me, it's, I'll always love Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley's my hero. He's always been, the first hero of my father and then Elvis is second, but, without him, I wouldn't be where I am right now. I wouldn't have any idea. I wouldn't know what I was doing because by being around the ETA world taught me a lot of different things. Taught me the right from wrong. Taught me the, hey, don't do this, dummy. And hey, this is the way to do it. By looking back on these young guys that I've mentored now, a few of them, just tell them, you know what, go there, have fun. Keep your eyes open, go have fun, and, see where it goes. And don't bite the hand that feeds you, and what goes around comes around. It's all on the wheel. So
that's some good advice for entertainment business. Someone once said, it's easier to have friends in this business than it is enemies. And it couldn't be more right. And it does. It always comes around. When you least expect it, something 10 years ago will come around. It's crazy how it works. And that goes both ways. Good for good and for bad. So, yeah, if you're out there just trying to be a good person, it'll come around as well. So, something you mentioned about taking opera lessons, 3 years. That's incredible. I think a lot of people think that people who take opera lessons are going to always sing a certain way. But the truth of the matter is, like Joan Jett, for example, perfect example, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. Remember them? Joan Jett took opera. There's a lot of rock singers, country singers even, who have taken opera. So how do you feel, how has that impacted you as far as being a vocalist, just a pure vocalist anyways?
Well, what it really taught me is how to breathe when you're singing, how to use your head voice, your chest voice, not to basically what would I say, strain your vocal cords, there's certain things you can do with your throat and your diaphragm and that to where you won't have a problem with straining. Knock on wood, I probably lost my voice one time in my whole entire Elvis career. And it's just because a lot of people vocalize, a lot of people, they do their scales, their runs and all this stuff like that before, a performance. And I don't do anything. I go out cold. I just know when my throat is there, I go out cold, but I also in my head, I realize don't push. There's certain things you don't want to do. And so you learn to be able to channel the different things, in your register. And, and that's basically how it was with doing opera. It just taught me how to breathe. It taught me how to go from my head voice to my chest voice, my mask. It taught me a lot of different things. And, the diaphragm is important, very, very, when you're going to sing in that, you want to push on your stomach just slightly and give it a little bit of pressure back. And that's where you basically want to be singing from. So you don't want to like overdo, things I learned that when you go to hit a high note, you don't open your mouth wide. You actually keep it loose and dumb, and you can hit a higher note than you can if you open your mouth wide, what's his name? Steven Tyler, he's got that, when he does that, if you keep your mouth and your jaw loose, the looser it is and the less tight it is, the better it's going to be. And you're not going to strain yourself.
Yeah. A lot of mechanics involved. I think a lot of people don't realize it. A lot of mechanics involved in singing. You mentioned, doing all the eras of 50s, 60s, 70s and whatnot. And I think it's cool that you're 51. I'm about to be 53 here, not too long down the road. So we're kind of right there.
Yeah.
I don't do the 50s anymore personally, just because physically, joint wise, knees, ankles, hips, all that stuff.
Me too. Trust me. Afterwards, the wife knows, oh, what's wrong on my knee, or I get a cramp in the middle of the night or something like that. It's not the same,
Yeah.
68 is fun because you don't really have to move as much, but the 70s, oh man, I don't know how he did it. I really don't, I mean, all the way up to the end, he was still moving.
Yeah. But he passed away at 42. And when he was really, really moving, he was more in his 30s. Now
that's true. 33, 35. Yeah.
And I'll take my 39-year-old body back like that. Like that.
Me too. Me too.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll take my 42-year-old body back like that. I mean, yeah, you start getting in the late 40s, 50s, man. It's like everything starts changing. You're like, oh,
yeah.
Never had that hurt before.
Yep. I was like, whoa, where did that come from? Yeah, no, absolutely.
Out of all the eras, do you have a favorite?
I do have a favorite, and I think it has to do when I got into the black leather, body wise, physique wise and stuff like that. I really tried to concentrate on that. When I got into it, I started training my voice to have the rasp, because you can train your voice to have that, but then when you go to sing another song or whatever, it could be completely tender. And it's just basically closing your throat just enough to where you can get that raspiness in your voice. And when I did that, I remember David Lee, gosh, there was so many ETAs that told me, they're like, dude, your 68 is probably one of the best I've ever heard. And I kept hearing, I'm going, really? And I started listening to myself and the raspiness and stuff. And I was like, okay. So I really studied 68 to early 69. And I love that era. Besides that, my favorite song is If I Can Dream. It always has been. My dad's favorite song is that song. And it tells a story about what was going on. It's the same stuff that's going on right now. If the world was, if we all could walk hand in hand, the world would be a better place. And it's exactly how it's going on right now. It was in 68, but it told a story, a message. And I thought he was just awesome coming back out of, from being away from the live and doing that comeback special. It just showed that he didn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal.
For sure. Tell me about your first time in Memphis. Because, you mentioned it earlier on, just like, I had to rent a costume. I didn't know where to go to get a costume. A lot of guys go through that same process of like, and I even went through the same thing. It's like, where would you ever go and find a this or that or whatever, especially when you get into like you're thinking jumpsuits or whatnot,
Oh yeah.
at least with the 50s, you might be able to go out and get a white jacket or something, and kind
Yeah.
of fake it, so to speak. But, you get to Memphis for the first time, one of these contests where all of the Elvis world is kind of coming in, and there's all kinds of resources, and there's jewelers and there's costuming people and all of this. Was that like a really eye-opening experience the first time?
Oh yeah. Because when I went there, your first time, you always wanted to go to at that time they had the souvenir shop with the wooden Indian. They had all that. Well, when I went there, I had a bunch of money I knew I could spend, and I bought. I think I spent $800 on souvenirs of pictures and cups and you name it. I filled my bag full, to go back home. And at that time, I had it all in my bedroom afterwards. I had it, the whole thing was Elvis everywhere. And I was blown away. But then to get to see and meet like Jimmy Velvet at 2 o'clock in the morning, walking down the street in Memphis by Graceland, and there he is. He's like, "Hey," we started talking. It was great. You know what the funny thing is you will never guess who was in the competition with me in 1994.
Who?
Bill Cherry.
He talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah, me and Bill were in the contest together. Chris Wilson was another one.
Yeah.
That came from Ohio and came down to the competition wearing blue jeans and a blue jean shirt and blonde hair, and he combed it straight back like Elvis or whatever in that, and he made it in. Yeah, that's when I hit it off with him and Bill and oh God, gosh, who was it? Man, there's so many. And then the year after that was Travis Morris came in out of nowhere, But yeah, no, it was great to meet all these people. Rob Hunter was a heavy hitter back then, doing Elvis. Chris Young, Robert Washington was there, Steve Chappell. These were all guys that that you saw when, especially me being new, when I walk in, and it's like, oh, there's George Thomas, there's Robert Washington, oh, there's Doug Church, or Cass. I met all these guys when I was really young, and it's like, wow. And you look back 33 years later and you're like, hey, man, it's like now you see all these young guys that are making it, and it's like, man, that was me way back then, So I went every year from 94 all the way up until 2010. I went every year. And then I left there. And then I came back again in 15. And then I went recently last year or whatever with my wife. She'd never been there, and she had an amazing experience because when it was Graceland before, the iPads weren't available. So when I used to go, there was just what you saw is what you saw. There was no extra where you can click on something and read the history on it and stuff like that. It was really cool. We walked the whole thing, and she loved it, but that Elvis stuff, man, with the jewelers, like you said, and the outfits, all these guys were getting, and then you get an idea and you say, hey, where'd you get this? Oh, well, so-and-so makes it. So I would have a gold-made jacket made by this lady. And then I would have, this, or he's like, oh yeah, go to the vintage clothing store, not vintage clothes, go to Salvation Army or Goodwill. Yeah. I found so much 50s stuff at Goodwill, and then all of a sudden, years later, stuff starts popping out like Memphis Flash for the remakes of the jackets, and, but then you go down to Lansky's and then you're in trouble because you blow a ton of money because they got such great stuff for the 50s Elvis.
Yeah.
It was such a great time. Like I said, I got to meet so many great people and met so many great ETAs that are still my friends to this day, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, it's the experiences that I've had, it was awesome. The pool parties, midday with Dennis Stella, at the Ramada, or at the, at the La Quinta, whatever. I mean, we used to have all these cool things, and it seems to be now that it's gotten different, where it's not as buddy as it used to be.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that it gets back that way, because the last few years you've got your people over here and you got your people over there, and it's supposed to be a brotherhood, and that's how I look at it.
I understand, man. That was a special time, man. I got into it in the late 90s when I first started, and and maybe that's just our perspective because that's what we lived, but having been involved in it for all these years, I still think that that was a special time for it. I don't know what it was. The old school guys were doing it right. When you were up and coming, you had to pay your dues, and it was all about Elvis back then more than, Rick Lenzi or Ryan Pelton or whoever. It was, and I think that's what the lack of division between fans choosing an ETA one over another. I think in some ways that does kind of create a division, but looking back, man, what a great time to come into this business. And not only that, but sometimes it makes me sad, Rick. I know that you've worked with a lot of people that Elvis worked with, and I have. I became friends with DJ Fontana.
So did I.
And he would tell me stories. I remember like early on, our thing was soup. For whatever reason, we would be at a hotel together for a show the next day, but in the morning he always wanted to go get soup. So I'd go with DJ, we'd go get soup. And those are some special times, but he would tell stories about Elvis, like, the first time he met him or whatnot. He'd be like, this dude got out of the car and he was wearing pink pants with a black tuxedo stripe. And we were looking at each other and we were like, what the heck is going on? And just little stories like that. So like, I remember we were in Cincinnati and I remember walking out. I heard of this place called House of Adam, downtown Cincinnati. I don't think it still exists. It was right by Larry Flynn's Hustler, downtown Cincinnati. But I walked in there and there was this bright, awesome pink suit. And I had them put in black tuxedo stripes down the sides of the pants, man. And I wore that thing for quite a while just because I was like,
I think I remember that. Yeah, no, gosh, man.
It's just great stuff, man.
Or it's freaking scary, man. How much you used to have your, remember we used to have our pictures, the black and whites or whatever, and that you had the whole blue Hawaii, you had the GI blues. And my daughter, who's now 27, you signed it for her when she was 3 years old.
Oh, Lord.
And you were, to Tatum from Ryan, and they're the 8x10s. And I've got like 5 of them, different ones. And I just remember a lot of stories. I remember we were at Nance's house at the EN, and she's like, look, it's Elvis coming out. And you just got out of the shower, out of her shower, or whatever, and your hair was whatever. And like, look, it's Elvis Presley. And she took a picture and she posted it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Ryan's probably getting bombarded with, all this stuff. Because how much you look like Elvis, dude. We were going through the beginning. God, it was scary.
Yeah.
Everybody was just like, holy crap, is that Elvis's kid? I was like, man.
Yeah. Early on, man, it's like, and I was so dumb. The older I get, the less I look like Elvis. I know that, but like, I did have a look back in the day, but it's funny because I didn't grow up in an Elvis environment home or anything. So I never even realized what people were talking about. I just like, okay, whatever, so
really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So it's wild how that kind of all happened, but anyway, so all these years you've been doing this, everybody knows you in the business and whatnot, but I just saw the other day, which, like I said, you were on the list to call. I just, I eventually get around to calling everyone, but I saw a post on Facebook and I immediately reached out to you, and essentially the post said you're retiring from the Elvis world. Tell us about it.
Well, the first thing that I did, I think it was a year ago, it was stop doing contests.
Yeah.
I used to do contests to network, meet new people, kind of a thing, and you win, none of this stuff. And I just saw a lot of different things in the last, quite a few years or whatever in that contest circuit, how people treat people and stuff like that, and behind the scenes. And I was like, I'm done. I mean, I'll go support anybody. I don't have to be in a competition. I'll just go support them. So I stopped that. And then, like I said, your body starts to get where joints and this and that. And I'm like, even though people say, oh, you still do a great, you're a great tribute, did it up. I don't feel that I can do what I used to be able to do, to portray Elvis the way I want to. So I had a great ride, and I've got, other doors have opened for me. Yeah, I'm retiring from doing Elvis Presley. He'll always be my hero. And, anybody ever wants me to hear, sing a song or something like that, that's not a problem, but I just not going to dress up anymore. I'm going to hang on to my stuff because everyone's asking ever since they sent me messages. Hey, if you're, I heard you're retired, bro. I'm so sorry. But hey, if you want to get rid of your suits or you want to get rid of your leather or you want to get rid of your wigs, I'm like, at this point, I'm not going to do anything, anything rash right now. I'm just going to hang on to my stuff. I'm not going to get rid of anything. But yeah, after 33 years, it's time to hang it up.
Yeah. I often, part of the reason too why I took the opportunity when it arose to come to Branson is there's an old saying in sports, motion is lotion. You keep on moving around and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And when I first got to Branson, we were doing 2 shows a day, 6 days a week. That's all of a sudden you feel like you're in, Groundhog Day. Just as it's like boom, 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 boom. That's settled down quite a bit. But I do think, yes, it's wear and tear to do 7 shows a week, 6 days a week, but it is also I'm thankful for it because I know there was a time after the Identical, I went out, I just kind of did road gigs. So, I might have a week off. I might have 2 weeks off and then I go and do a gig and it's different. It's almost like staying in shape, So I feel like in a weird sort of way, doing more has allowed me to continue on. And as I get older, that's why I don't do the 50s anymore. I can't do it the justice I want to do it. So I don't. But still, I love the 68. I love the 70s stuff. I like just being an entertainer. That's always kind of been what has come out of me as far as being, an Elvis guy. I just really enjoy being an entertainer. But, the day will come, and I'm not saying it's tomorrow. And I'm not saying it's a year from now, and I'm not saying that it's 10 years from now either, but the day will come where I think I'll be, making some of those choices as well. Part of the reason why I got involved in podcasting even, is the next thing, so to speak. So I totally get where you're coming from, man.
Yeah, no, it like I said, it's been amazing, and I've had a lot of people send me messages and said, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're retiring." And but then they know what I'm going to be doing going forward, and they're saying, "You told me, there's, they're going to keep up and follow and see what what my new adventure is about." And yeah, so I mean, like I said, I still talk to everybody. It's not like I'm just because I'm not doing Elvis anymore, and I'm not going to be talking to my buddy Dorian or Jim or David or Michael or Leo or any of those guys. I mean, I still talk to them. So it's not like, oh, sorry, I'm not doing Elvis anymore. So guess what? I'm not going to talk to you. No, I'm not going to do that. That's not what it's about. I mean, because some of these young guys have sent me messages and said, hey, thank you for, we've watched you when we were, getting into this thing or whatever on YouTube and stuff like that. And you've been an influence to me, and I thought that was really cool. And they're like, if you have any advice, I'm trying to do this and that. I'll be able to help whatever I can do to help out. I'm helping out the Taylor Salomon or whatever. He's out of Colorado.
Yep.
He's going to be something. He's doing very well. And I said it's just how I look at it. What Elvis was, no matter how famous he got, money wise or fame wise, he stayed humble.
Yeah.
And that's what my whole goal was, is to stay humble. And I tell these young guys, if you get fame, know where you came from, stay humble.
Yeah.
And, and that's just my,
Yeah. That's great advice, man. That's great advice. Great advice. Okay. So let's talk.
It wasn't that way before, when I was younger in the Elvis world. I was a pain in the, thinking, didn't stink and, and all that. But I was young. I didn't know. But now I know. And that's why I'm trying to help people not do what I did in the beginning of my career.
Well, I mean, every road has its, hills and valleys and bumps and whatnot.
Yeah.
And we all have to learn. We all make mistakes, especially in our youth, I know I certainly have. And as you get older, you get a different perspective. Some people might call it wisdom. I don't know if that applies to me.
Yeah.
But, the bottom line is, it's just part of the journey, and everybody has to go through it. So,
right.
So let's get into this. Like, you talked about other opportunities and whatnot. You mentioned some country music in your post and whatnot. Tell us about it.
Well, I've got for, let's see here, almost a year now. I had a country band back from 13 to 21 on and off, along doing Elvis and everything. I stopped doing that. I went to work at Silver Star Theater in Mesa as the main entertainer. So I did Elvis, Buddy Holly, Ricky Nelson, Dean Martin. I did country and everything. And after the years there, I decided to go away from the 5 nights a week type thing and go back to having a regular job where I have benefits and everything else, and put my country band back together, Rick Lenzi and Tennessee Whiskey. And when I put it back together, it was already in the middle of the year. So a lot of places, they're like, oh, we're already booked up, but just, it's crazy how they remember who you are from before with your band and hire you. And I almost play every weekend. I get weekend off here and there, but like last night we played at a place called Distillery in Phoenix, and then tonight we're playing the other distillery in Chandler, Arizona. Yeah, I mean, so I'm booked up all the way until the end of end of 2026.
Wow.
With country, and I'm able to be myself. I don't have to portray a character. I don't have to be Elvis. Wear my cowboy hat, put my jeans on, I'm growing my beard out, and just go out there and have fun and just sing the music that you want to sing.
Yeah.
And and I don't have to, I don't have to put makeup on. I don't have to put a wig on, or I don't have to do this, or I don't have to do that. I just me.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do, is just to be me.
Yep. There's something freeing about it, for sure. No doubt about it. So what are you doing? Like, are you doing like the 4-hour kind of thing where you got the, 50 minutes on, 10 minutes off, or whatever it is?
Yeah. It's usually 45, 15, 45, 15, 45, 50. Yeah. 4 hours. And it's just, and it's a variety. I mean, I'm really a traditional country guy. So I'm really, I got Don Williams, the others. I've got, you name it. And then I go into Eric Church, and I've got, Blake Shelton, and, and stuff like that. So it's a variety, but a lot of it is 90s to early 2000s, country music is what my goal is with this band, and to take it to more of a Nashville, the old school Nashville sound is what our goal is in 2026.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
How many songs are in your repertoire if you were to guess?
In what country?
Yeah.
or in Elvis?
No. Well, tell us both, but yeah, I want to know the country and I want to know the Elvis. So yeah.
Well, okay. Well, the Elvis, he did 700 and something songs, and I probably know 300,
Yeah.
which is pretty good. I can do 3 or 4 4-hour shows with not having any lyrics or anything like that, no anything songs. Country wise, I've got probably let's see on my iPad right now, I think 125
Well,
country songs, and that's a variety from, like you said, from Hank and Willie and Waylon, to Luke Combs, stuff like. I mean, so it's a big variety.
right.
So, but yeah, and our band is a dance band, so it's dance country, so it's a lot of line dancing and stuff like that.
I was just going to ask you that. Yeah. The line dancing, man. Oh, dude, I'm not the guy with all the rhythm and whatnot, but man, it is so awesome to watch. Like if you get a good country band and there's line dancers in the house and man, they show up and it's like,
They're good.
oh, they have to move.
Look at them go. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, no, that's not me. I could never do that. So I just get up there and sing, and like we do Copperhead Road
Oh, yeah.
by Steve Earle, and their girls are out there doing their thing with their feet. I'm just like, wow, and I got my 9-year-old daughter doing it with my wife out on the dance floor too, and it's like, holy mackerel. I mean, so, and it's not like, country music is huge, and so it's a different group, than the Elvis world. The Elvis world was, was very, very tight. The country thing it's a little bit more loose, and there's bands out there that say stuff and do stuff, whatever. But for me, I mean, I'm never going to badmouth anybody. If you're better than I am, great. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to do my show and we're going to have fun. Just like we did last night. We sang and, my two band members or whatever were out. One had surgery and the other one was in his 50th reunion. So that's how old my drummer is. And he's freaking phenomenal. And he's from Nashville. So, and he's back out here now. But yeah, so I had subs and it's great because all you do is you just send out a message. Hey, I'm looking for whatever. And then they give you a list. They're like, oh, so-and-so's available or or I'm booked, but this guy's open. It's pretty cool, and then you get these people that, they just walk in, you give them the set list 2 days before the show and they get there and they're already ready for 50 songs. It's like, damn, okay. Because country ain't hard to play. It's 3 chords, basically. You just got to put them in the right area, But, and I'm learning myself right now. I'm learning myself on acoustic guitar. I've never played it before. I mean, after all these years, like, you don't play guitar? No. For Elvis, like, I should, but I never did. But, I see how talented Dean Z is. I mean, that kid can play every single instrument under the sun,
Oh, yeah.
But there's a lot of them I had no idea that played instruments that were Elvis tribute artists. I was like, wow.
There's a couple of
Dan Fontaine. Yeah.
There's a couple of up and coming ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Jay Dupuis plays freaking the drums like a madman. I mean, that's what he was. I didn't realize that. And Tim E. Yeah. I'm like, you play guitar, don't you?
I wouldn't call myself a guitar player. I play, but I'm not.
You play.
What I really like to do is I love just sitting down at a piano, and
really,
and just, it like mentally, the math makes more sense to me when I'm out on a piano. So like,
oh wow,
and I still play around with like writing, lyrics and whatnot and songs and melodies. But man, that's probably the biggest therapy there is for me. Just sitting down at a piano and just noodling.
At piano,
yeah. But guitars, I wouldn't call myself a guitar player. I know the chords and I can.
Hey, more than what I know right now. So that's, but yeah, I mean, the country thing, it's, when I did Elvis, I think what I did is I escaped out from reality. You know what I mean? I took myself from being a guy that works in automotive for 28 years and got on stage and I was an icon to myself, whatever show I was doing, character wise, like Buddy Holly or Ricky Nelson. I escaped from reality for that period of time. And then I got, and then I came back to earth afterwards. but it was something that was different. It was an identity thing where I got on stage, did my thing, and I got off stage, I was myself. I never was one that would take from the show to afterwards be the same person and be in character. I wouldn't do that because that's not who I am. I'm portraying a character on stage or, trying to do a tribute. I'm not going to carry that tribute off the stage, so I became myself again, even though I was dressed up. I didn't talk with it's been a long time, honey, on stage and then get off and be like doing the same thing. I would just be like, hey, I'm Rick Lenzi. How you doing? Yeah, hope you guys are doing well, that kind of a thing. So, but yeah, no, I think that's what it was for, especially in the beginning. I felt like Superman.
Yeah,
I really did. I felt like a superhero when I started doing Elvis in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And even into early 2000s with the EN, just up to 2002 or whatever. That's where I was. And then, things changed and but yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, I met a lot of great people, guys that we were together and they've climbed to the top. And I mean, I probably could have gotten higher or whatever, but I at times I just didn't want to put forth the effort, at times, I had children and everything else where these guys were single and it just didn't work.
Priorities.
But
yeah.
True.
Nothing wrong with that. Let me ask you a question. Okay.
Sure.
I love the fact that no matter what, Rick, you're still in music. I love that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. Let me ask you a question I ask everyone. You're still an Elvis fan. So this applies. Yes. If you have, and I got another part that I'll bring up after you answer this, but
okay.
You've got a time machine. All right. You can go back in time anywhere you want to meet Elvis Presley and talk to him for 1 hour. All right. Where would you go? To what time? And what would you talk about?
I would probably go back to 1968. I would I would just talk to him. I would, ask him, how everything has been since, because so being gone for so long and coming back, how do you feel? What changed your mind and getting back into it when you were out of it for so long? What is there, is there anything, any tips you can give me, going forward on what I do, and let them know, hey, here in this, years ahead, we're all paying tribute to you. We hope we're doing good. We hope we're making you proud, cause that was my goal. My goal was always to do an honest tribute to where it wasn't anything that would show that anything bad about Elvis Presley. It was always pure. It was always true. And, I would tell him, I would just say, Elvis Presley, thank you so much for bringing so much joy and so much, love, in the entertainment, world, being the king of rock and roll is, just showing us, what you can do. You're a human, and what you're able to accomplish, the do's and the don'ts. I would just tell him, I would say, thank you so much. And, we love you and we miss you.
Yeah. I mean, think about it, Rick. You're, you said you're 51 in, a year or whatever. You're going to be 10 years older than he was when he passed away. Man, 42 was just way too young for him to be.
Oh yeah. No, it was. And I do think that they said he was a prisoner of his own fame.
Yeah.
In the 50s, that was it for him. He couldn't go anywhere without having to rent things out or do this or do that. And he wanted to be a certain way to his fans, in the spotlight.
Yeah.
And at the very end, I remember them, talking with Charlie, and I talked with, other people. He said he was too tired. He said, I can't, I'm doing everything I can, and I'm just going to do what I'm going to do in the last year and a half of his life. He just They're going to love me for who I am, and that's it. And, it was sad. My mom cried at two people, JFK and Elvis Presley, passing. And, that was, and my dad too. My dad's a big, big guy, muscular guy, real Italian guy. And then I asked him, I said, when Elvis died, did you cry? Because I was 3. I didn't know. And he said, yeah.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a family member is what my dad said. He goes, he grew up with him, everything that he did, my dad would be listening to 8 tracks of Elvis Presley, the Moody Blue album, and he would do this, and he would have the albums, with when I was growing up, he'd be like, hey, look, I got this album here, and it's the Moody Blue, but it's not the blue, it's the red, and it's the, just certain things. And to this day, my dad is going to be 75 years old, and, we talk about the Elvis thing, and he's always been proud. And, when I let him know that I'm not, doing this anymore, he said, son, you only do what you got to do. You make yourself, whatever makes yourself happy. He says, the country's wants to go good for you. That's great. He said, but I know you always love Elvis. And I said, yeah, that's just who I am. He was a big part of my life for 30 plus years. So I wouldn't have met my wife, because her dad was my bass player in my Elvis band.
Yeah.
And that's how she came one time and showed up. And and without that, I would probably never met her. I would never met my father-in-law. Like I said, I would never have met a lot of things, and like I said, Elvis has brought a lot of people into my life that, especially my wife, I would never have met her. I would never even know who she was, because I wouldn't be doing Elvis. So I would be off somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you one more
how everything.
Yeah. It's
Sure.
It's the glue that connects even us, relationship wise, people in the Elvis community. Elvis is the glue. There's no doubt about it.
Like 7 ways of Kevin Bacon. It's like the Kevin Bacon thing. Everybody's connected to Kevin Bacon somehow. It's like everyone's connected to the Elvis ETA world, in some way.
Let me ask you a question. I'm going to have you speculate in closing. I feel like a lot of Elvis entertainers, get to know Elvis in a different way than, and maybe it's real, maybe it's not even real. I don't know. But I think that we all in our mind have this idea of who this human being was. Because we've studied the movements, the music, the sound, the dress, the history and all this. And we've hung out with people who hung out with them, and we've talked and we hear these stories, and we probably generate in our own mind this character. So I'm asking you, Rick, knowing Elvis's story, knowing that, towards the end of his life, there was that moment where it was almost like giving up. It was almost like, I'm tired. But also knowing that there was this cat in 68 who said, no, now is not the time. I'm coming back. And had the amazing 69, 70, 71, the early 70 stuff, phenomenal. So let me ask you this. You're in that time machine. All right. And you got to go, but you say, Elvis, listen real quick, man. I'm stopping performing as you. And I'm going into my own thing. And here's the reasons why. What do you think Elvis would say to you?
I really, truly think that Elvis would say, I appreciate that you have paid tribute to me for so long, but you are you. You are a human being, and you are one. You need to go out and do what makes you feel good and put yourself on the map as you, Rick Lenzi.
I think you're right. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Tell the folks how they can follow you in this next journey, this new journey. Not necessarily new, I guess, but this next chapter in your entertainment career.
Well, you guys can follow me. I've got a website, which is Rick Lenzi and TennesseeWhiskey.com. You can also follow me on Facebook. You can also follow me on Instagram. It's the same, Rick Lenzi and Tennessee Whiskey. You can find out where we're going to be. We're in Arizona. We're looking at in 2026 going to Casper, Wyoming. Albuquerque, New Mexico, doing stuff like that. But I'd love to have you just come on and follow my page on Facebook, Rick Lenzi Tennessee Whiskey, and there'll be videos and everything else of us performing live tonight. We'll be live streaming from the distillery in Chandler, Arizona. Our time here, which is Mountain Time, is 8:30, so it'll be 8:30 to 12:30. So yeah, come and check it out. Follow me on my journey, and yeah. And I really appreciate everybody out there. Until we meet again, may God bless all of you.
Man, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Rick. I appreciate you. Good luck. If you have anything, you let me know.
I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you. God bless you, Ryan. Have a good day.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Rick Lenzi. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for tuning in this week to the ETA Files. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And as always, be sure to hit that subscribe button and join the ETA Files community. And if you're looking for something a little different, be sure to stop by my podcast, The Ryan Files. Keep rocking, my friends, and I'll see you next week with another story from the Elvis Tribute Artist world. In the meantime, check out these video links below.